Another grinding episode? You know how these go. The elders all looked at Rika-chan and clasped their hands in praise. The only thing allowed to disturb the profound silence was the flash from Tomitake-san's camera.
リカちゃんが持ってるあのでかいのはなんだ？
祭事用のクワだよ。巫女さんしか触っちゃいけない神聖な農具なの。
It was an awkward shape for a piece of farm equipment, not uncommon for something used in rituals. After reciting a Shinto prayer, Rika-chan approached the pile of futons gathered at the altar. She swung the hose skillfully, plowing it into the futons. Each and every little movement of this performance probably had to be done in a certain way. Without a doubt, this was a ritual.
今度はなんだ？布団叩きかな？
あれはね、人間に代わって冬の病魔を吸い取ってくれたお布団を清めてるの。
ケイちゃんのお布団叩きって表現もまあ外れじゃないかね。
Rika-chan's face was already dripping with sweat. That hoe was probably really heavy. She staggered side to side with the momentum of each swing. Sadako looked on, silently lending her support.
心配か？
リカは毎日お餅つきの杵で練習してましたですの。きっとやりきるでございますわ。
Satoko's hands were sweaty, and whenever Rika-chan started to sway a little, she held her breath.
ミオンとかは巫女役立候補しなかったのかよ。リカちゃんにあの重さは気の毒だよ。
そりゃ頼まれりゃやるけどね。まあ誰にでも務まるものでもないし。
そうだよな。ミコは清らかじゃないとダメだもんな。
Mion drove her elbow into my side. With the thud of the big drum, Rika-chan gave a solemn bow and descended from the altar. That triggered a round of generous applause. After the Shinto priest had raised up the cleansed futons like a portable altar, all the spectators stood up. Following after the priests, we all marched on at a moderate pace. They descended the shrine's giant stairs in a line.
今度は何が始まるんだ？布団を川で洗濯か？
だから綿流しだってば。
Watanagashi, yeah, cotton drifting. It could also mean like entail drifting or something, like entrails, your intestines. The procession continued right up to the bank of the stream. A fire was stoked high, and it was bright as day here, too. People started crowding around it and clamoring.
はい、順番。
Alright, get in line, she
並ぶよ、
says.
ケイチくん。
I wondered what was up. Maybe we'd get some holy wine. Red and white bean buns?
食べ物じゃないよ。だから、綿。
Ah, but of course. They didn't call it the Watanagashi for nothing. I finally understood. The municipal committee members pulled out the cotton from inside the futons and balled it up like mochi, handing it out to people. Rena drove into the line and brought out some for me as well. We then proceeded to the bank of the stream.
ケイチくんは初めてだから、レナのやり方を真似するんだよ。
She held the cotton in her right hand, and waving her hands as if to purify it, she touched it to her forehead, chest, navel, and both thighs.
これを3回繰り返すの。心の中では、お社様ありがとうって唱えるんだよ。
お社様ってなんだよ？あの神社の神様の名前か？
うん、ひなみ沢の守り神様なの。ご利益もあるけど、たたりもあるんだからね。ちゃんと敬わないとダメだよ。
That sounded like a pretty frightening god. But well, when in Rome, I was officially a resident of Hinamizawa now. After all, doing as Rena showed me, I touched the cotton over myself 3 times. Thank you, Oyashiro-sama. Thank you, Oyashiro-sama. Thank you, Oyashiro-sama.
これでね、体についてた悪いのが、この綿に吸い取られたの。で、あとは沢の流れにそっと流してね。おしまい。
Together, Rena and I set our pieces of cotton afloat on the surface of the water. The flowers of cotton blooming in the water had sucked out all the bad illnesses from Hinamizawa and drifted off, disappearing into the distance. It was wonderful, like those floating lantern festivals I've seen on TV. The best part, though, was feeling like this rite of passage had made me a true resident of Hinamizawa. Higurashi When They Cry. 07th expansion presents Welcome to Hinamizawa When They Cry.
はじめはちょっとした不安だった。誰かを傷つけたいなんて考えもしなかった。それでも不安は孤独を生んで疑念へと変わり、やがて黒い殺意が心を闇に閉ざしていった。戻らない日常。少年は足を踏み出す。その先が奈落の底だとも気づかずに。鬼隠し。信じたいと思う気持ちが生んだ悲劇。流した涙は懺悔か、それとも怨恨か。
While staring off into the stream, I somehow got separated from Rena. I wasn't very lonely, though. I know this place now. This is where I live, my home. It's probably better if I just stay here instead of wandering around aimlessly. Someone would surely find me while I was enjoying the evening breeze. I heard a familiar voice. It was Tomitake-san's. I headed toward it.
どうですか、富武さん。いい写真はいっぱい撮れましたか？
ああ、おかげさまでね。
Tomitake-san was with a girl. I felt a little like I was intruding.
圭一君はどうだったかしら？お祭りは楽しめた？
From the way she spoke, it seemed like she was a resident of Hinamizawa. I really should try harder to remember people's faces. What was her name?
その楽しかったです。
My face must have given away how desperately I was trying to remember her name because she gave a light-hearted chuckle.
圭一君はまだ引っ越してきて日が浅いんだそうだね。他の子たちととても親しげだったから、とてもそうは思えなかったよ。
If that's how it looked, it was probably all thanks to Rena and Moemon.
あなたも今日のお祭りに参加して自分がひなみ沢の人間になれたんだって自覚できたんじゃないかしら？
どうなんでしょうね。
おや、圭一君らしくない返事だね。
I had tried to get used to Hinamizawa, but there were still plenty of things I didn't know. The faces of the people I'd met, for example. Things that had happened in the past as well.
なんだ、その程度のことで君は疎遠に感じていたのかい？
疎遠なんて大げさなもんじゃないですよ。ただなんていうのか。
That incident at the dam construction site. The fighting over it and other conflicts. That terrible incident they pretended they didn't even know about, but never I brought it up. Even though it was in the past, as someone living in Hinamizawa, it wasn't wrong to want to know about both the good and the bad that had happened here.
それを知ることで君が納得するなら、僕の知っている範囲で何でも教えるよ。
Hi, Veer. If it will put you at ease, then I'll tell you everything I know. Wait, he already said that out loud. Tomitake-san's smile made me more relieved than I'd ever been. It was hard to think of what to ask when someone said, "Ask me anything," though. Even when there was so much I wanted to ask.
じゃあダム工事について聞かせてください。ひなみ沢が水没するとかいう大事件だったんですよね。
ダムについては多分ここの人に聞いた方が詳しいと思うけどな。僕が知っている範囲でいいんなら。新聞で読んだ程度だけどね。
Tomitake-san's eyes entered an unfocused gaze as he was searching through his memory. Then he spoke.
ダムの計画が決まったのは7、8年くらい前なんだ。黒部に次ぐ巨大な計画だったと聞いてるね。
There were three major issues in Japan at the time. Improving inter-island transportation infrastructure, meeting the higher demand for electricity, and flood control. There was a boom of dam building due to the massive economic stimulus they provided on top of generating electricity and flood control. Hinamizawa had the right conditions to support dam construction, so it was singled out.
ダムの完成に伴って生まれるダム湖はかなりの面積になったらしいね。このひなみ沢からずーっと上流の矢郷地あたりまでが全部沈むことになったらしい。
Happen. Close.
しかし、なんだって人が住んでるひなみ沢にわざわざダムを作るんすか？もっと他の人が住んでないところに作ればいいのに。
Keiji has the right idea.
よくは知らないんだが、ダムを作るのに適した地形ってのがあったって聞いてるね。
Of course, there were protests here in Hinamizawa. Nika-chan had said that they had fought from the choice of words. I had to guess things had turned violent.
裁判にもなったし、議会でも取り上げられたんだ。東京の新聞にも載ったよ。
Mion had told me all about that as well. I'm sure every resident of Hinamizawa had united to fight together. The feeling of solidarity found here, which could not be expressed properly with mere words, was likely brought about by that battle.
で、いろいろな不祥事や汚職が発覚してね。ややこしいことになっているうちに工事中止が決まったんだそうだよ。
If I wanted to know now, was my only chance to ask. It was certainly a bizarre incident that boys my age would be curious about. I felt a little shame from the fact I was petty enough to have my curiosity piqued by Rena and Mion's refusal to talk about the event. But I figured I might as well ask since I had the chance, just so I would stop thinking about it so much.
バラバラ殺人ってありましたよね。
あったよ。偶然その時期にひなみ沢にいてね。だからよく覚えてるよ。
Tomitake-san's answer was nonchalant in contrast to my hesitantly forced out question.
ちょうど4年前の今頃だったかな。あれも確か綿流しの日だったね。
Debate on whether to continue construction on the dam was in disarray. Scandal after scandal rocked the project near the end. The incident that was the final nail in the coffin for the dam project. A fight at the dam construction site ended in the victim being murdered. Fearing prosecution, the 6 assailants divided the remains into 6 pieces and hid each one. 5 of the 6 criminals turned themselves in out of guilt, but 1 was still on the run. The right arm he'd hidden had yet to be found. The major details lined up with what was in the tabloid I read earlier. It certainly was a tragic incident, but it wasn't so terrible that Rena and Mion needed to hide it from me. I guess they didn't want someone who just moved here to have a negative impression of Hinamizawa. I felt grateful for having friends who worried so much about me, as well as shame for still being so interested in it.
当時はダムのトラブルの末期だったからね。お社様のたたりだって言ってずいぶん騒がれたんだよ。
お社様のたたりか。
Oyashiro-sama was the name of the god at the shrine that held the festival today, if I recalled correctly. I see. Their guardian deity rained divine punishment down on the evil dam construction for trying to flood Hinamizawa.
若い人たちはそうは思わなかったみたいだけれど、お年寄りたちはお社様のたたりだと疑わなかったみたいね。
The woman with Tomitake-san chuckled mischievously. Tomitake-san began laughing with her. It was so infectious, I ended up laughing as well.
でも今ではどうかしらね。結構いるんじゃないかしら。若い人にも。
いるって何がですか？
信じてる人だよ。お社様のたたり。
The woman's lips were still curled into a smile, but her expression turned stern.
その後ね、毎年起こるんだよ。決まって今頃にね。
怒るって何が？
Tomitake-san paused for a second as if to build up some suspense. Then he whispered to me, as if someone might have been listening.
毎年綿流しの日になるとね、誰かが死ぬんだよ。バラバラ殺人の翌年の綿流しの日、 ひなみ沢の住人でありながらダムの誘致派だった男が旅行先で崖下の濁流に転落して死亡した。奥さんに至っては死体も上がってない。
ひなみ沢の人間でありながらダムに賛成していた男ですからね。事故当時お年寄りたちはお社様のたたりだとささやき合ったものよ。
The woman chuckled mischievously again.
さらに翌年、綿流しの晩、今度は神社の神主が原因不明で急死した。奥さんはその晩のうちに沼に受水自殺した。
神社の神主って今日のこの神社の神主ですか？
The woman nodded.
村人たちはお社様のお怒りを鎮めきれなかったんだって噂したわね。
さらに翌年、これもまた綿流しの晩、今度は近所の主婦が撲殺体で発見された。
Housewife. Up until now, all these mysterious deaths were people involved with the dam or who had connections with Oyashiro-sama. With that in mind, could the housewife have been involved in the same way too?
その通りよ。
The woman stated shyly. No, it was more menacingly.
被害者の一家はね、その2年前に転落死したダム誘致派の男の弟一家に当たるのよ。
弟本人はまだ生きてるらしいね。でもやはりかなり気にしてね、近隣の町に引っ越してったらしいよ。
For a while, I stood there with my mouth agape. A battle over the dam construction with Hinamizawa's future at stake, and the murder at the center of it all. That was all I knew, and that was all I wanted to ask about. But that wasn't all there was to the story. Homicide, body disposal, accidental deaths, terminal illness, suicide, fatal beatings. I'm a pretty level-headed person. I don't really want to believe in curses. But the freakish deaths happened every year on the day of the Watanagashi, and all of them were related to the dam construction. It was easy to dismiss each of them as coincidences by themselves, but when you put them all together, dismissing all of them as coincidence would then defy logic. Correct. What you could do is think maybe there's a killer out there, and not start hypothesizing over something a little more ridiculous. But then again, that's just me. I don't believe in curses. But every single year, on the day of the Watanagashi, somebody or something makes it happen without fail. The woman chuckled again, as if she picked up on what I was saying. Thinking, it felt like she was saying, maybe there was, maybe we frightened him, stuff like that. I felt embarrassed at being read so easily. I pressed Tomitake-san to continue, a bit of impatience and irritation in my tone.
で、その翌年の綿流しの晩にもまた人が死ぬわけですよね。今度は誰です？
さーてね、圭一君は誰だと思うかな？
あ
The way he said it, it didn't agree with me. The sarcastic tone ticked me off.
はぐらかさないでくださいよ。俺は結構真剣に。
まあまあ圭一君、落ち着いて。
I realized when she tried to calm me down that I had been panicking.
別にはぐらかしたつもりはないんだよ、圭一君。つまりその翌年の綿流しってのは、つまり
今日よ。
When Tomitake-san hesitated to say it, she finished for him. I broke into a cold sweat. I really didn't like the direction this was headed.
みんな口にしないけど、今夜また何か起こるんじゃないかって思ってる。
こんなにお祭りで賑わってるのに？
You're the culprit! I'm kidding. I'm really not.
あのね、去年の被害者の主婦は不信心者だったらしくてね、綿流しのお祭りに参加しなかったらしいの。
今年の綿流しに参加しないとお社様の怒りに触れるかもしれないって噂、圭一君なら聞いてるんじゃないかい？
I never even heard a whisper of that rumor.
じゃあみんなのお祭りの参加はたたりを恐れて？
そうなんじゃないかと思うね。 今年の綿流しは例年になく参加者が多いよ。
やっぱりみんな怖いんでしょうね。お社様のたたり。
I couldn't utter a single word. In this modern age, where we've made progress in all scientific fields, shedding light on the unknown and misunderstood, where black and white television had been eradicated and we've sent men to the moon, even with all of our accomplishments, this can exist in modern society?
桜ってことで近隣の町の子供会をかなり招待したらしいけど、やっぱり一連の事件を受けてあんまり参加はなかったみたいね。人集めに苦労してるって町会の人がぼやいてたもの。
警察もね、過去の事件は全て別個のもので関連性はないとしてるみたいだけどね。警備ってことで私服警官をだいぶ立たせてたみたいだよ。
It finally began to dawn on me why Rena and Mion were reluctant to talk. If nothing happened during this Watanagashi, everything would have been over with and I'd be none the wiser. If nothing happened, all would be well. In that case, it would all end up being just crazy talk. I should have just pretended like I knew nothing from the beginning. Then, they wouldn't have had to act like nothing happened. And we would have all gotten back to life as usual.
やっぱり刺激が強すぎたかしら。
The woman ran her fingers through her hair as she sighed.
いえ、そんな、全然。
I had tried to act strong, but that just served to emphasize how much the information had unsettled me. After seeing how I looked, Tomitaki-san appeared to regret saying anything. Letting out a sigh, he then spoke, forcing an awkward, upbeat demeanor. It's really hot today. It's September 26th. Temperature's about 90 Fahrenheit. Pretty bad.
まさか圭一君、たたりなんて信じてるわけじゃないだろう。
そりゃ、まあ。
全ての事件が原因不明で犯人も手口も謎っていうなら僕もたたりを疑ってもいいよ。だけど実際には違う。どの事件もちゃんと警察が捜査して真相や犯人を究明してる。
Hearing him say police made me feel a lot better. It was perfect for repelling the word curse.
例えば一番最初のバラバラ殺人言ったよね。犯人は一人を残して全員逮捕されてる。残った一人だって時間の問題さ。動機だって酒の上での口論からと判明してる。たたりなんかじゃないだろ。
That was true. If it didn't happen on the day of the Watanagashi, then I wouldn't think it was related to the curse at all.
次の誘致派の夫婦の事故死だってそうさ。恨みを買う立場だったからね。警察が特に入念に捜査したと思うよ。それで発表は事故。他殺じゃない。
でも、また綿流しの日に起きたんですよね。
考えてもみなよ、圭一君。ひなみ沢に敵が多かった彼が地元のお祭りにおちおち参加できると思うかい？彼にとっては綿流しの時期は特にひなみ沢に居づらい時期に違いないよ。だからわざわざこの時期に旅行をし、意図的にひなみ沢を離れようとしたんじゃないかな。
It wasn't a very clear explanation, but I sort of understood what Tomitaki-san was getting at. So I pressed on earnestly, asking more questions so that I could convince myself.
じゃあ、富武さん、その次に死んだ神主さんはどうです？原因不明の奇病だって。それも、またしても綿流しの日に。
神主さんはもっと説明がつきやすいよ。綿流しのお祭りは神主さんにとっては年に一度の大行事。過労あるいはもともと持病持ちだったのかもしれない。
でも奇病ですよ。でもこの医学の進歩した時代に原因不明なんて。
尾ひれだよ。噂が噂を呼んだだけさ。2年立て続けに事件が起これば誰だって過敏になるよ。急死は確かに不自然だったかもしれないけど、こういう死に方をすると必ず警察が検視をする。 で、事件性は発見されなかったんだろう。本当に偶然の病死なんだよ。
確か神主の奥さんが自殺してますよね。じゃあこれは？
すでに説明した通りさ。3年目の事件に村人たちは動揺していた。信心深い人たちはすぐにたたりだと決めてかかったのさ。もちろん神主の奥さんもね。自殺の際に死んでお社様の怒りをお鎮めするみたいな遺書が見つかったらしいし。
じゃあ次の主婦の事件は？またしても綿流しの日に。
この事件は犯人も逮捕されて解決してるよ。一種の異常者でひなみ沢のたたり騒ぎを面白がって再現したと自供してる。
じゃあ次の年の事件は？
Oh yeah, this year is the next year. Tomitaka-san gave a hearty laugh.
もう何も起こらないよ。今度こそね。お社様のたたりなんてもともとない。一連の偶然をあると信じている人たちがそうだと吹聴しているだけさ。
My internal computer finally got itself back on track. I felt a bit embarrassed by how childish I'd become after losing control and panicking.
僕は圭一君がひなみ沢をとても好きだと思ってることをよく知ってるよ。仮にお社様のたたりが実在したとしても、そんな圭一君にたたりがあるなんてとても思えないね。
I felt very relieved. I should probably just forget everything I heard tonight. I'll greet Rena and Mio tomorrow with the same smile as always. They'd probably also like tonight to end without incident, so they can continue on tomorrow without having worried me. Perhaps seeing my change in attitude, the woman who had been listening in stretched as she got up from the rock she was sitting on.
さてと、そろそろ私は戻らないとね。
おっと、僕も少々長くおしゃべりしすぎたかな。
There were so few people compared to the crowd from before. I could only make out a few groups of families enjoying the cool evening air. I looked at my watch. It seemed we'd talked for the better part of an hour.
圭一くんもお友達と一緒に来たんでしょ？みんなを探したら？
そうだった。みんな俺のことを探してるかもしれない。
女の子に探させるなんてなかなかの罪人だね。
じゃあね、おやすみなさい、圭一くん。次郎さんもね。また後ほど。
Tomitaki-san seemed to be quite the scoundrel himself, so his name is Jiro. After dusting off the backside, she disappeared into the cloud of people, still busy clearing up the shrine grounds.
ケイチくん
Okay.
ごめんなさい。
In her place, Rena came running over. I could see all the others behind her. Speak of the devil.
悪いケイちゃん。すっかり話し込んじゃっててさ。
I had completely forgotten about them while caught up in my own conversation, so we were even.
あら、富武さんもご一緒でございましたの。ちょうどよかったですわ。今日の射的の結果発表がありますです。
ああ、そうだったね。
And for that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to leave it there. Save. Close. Did I save? Yes, I did. Alright. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed.